my dad, 54, and my best friend, 20, female, let's call her Sophie, have been acting suspiciously for quite a long time. I've always sensed the little tension between them that sparks up whenever she comes over. My dad finds ridiculous excuses to leave the room or house, and she gets all awkward. I always attributed it to them being introverted, but I know this is not enough reason to suspect that something's going on. However, things have been playing out weirdly since then. Sophie and I became friends 6 years ago and have been close ever since. She's almost as close as family and helped me get through 2019 when my parents divorced. My younger brother, 19, and I have lived with Dad since the divorce. Sophie and I used to hang out at least 5 to 6 times a week, but lately, it's come down to us hanging out only twice a week. University being the reason behind it, I didn't pry any further. Returning to the topic, the last time we hung out was at her place. We were getting down to our PJs after an engagement party we'd attended. The plan was to catch up on our skipped movie nights for the past 2 months. So, she was taking a shower while I sat in my PJs on her bed, and that's when I noticed a bracelet on her nightstand. I found it to be really pretty, but by the time she returned, I'd already long forgotten about it. Fast forward to 3 days ago. My dad and I were tracking the shipment details of my aunt's birthday gift when a very familiar bracelet caught my eye in the past orders list on Amazon. I immediately recognized it as the one I'd seen on Sophie's nightstand, or at least, it was completely identical to it. Another reason that fed this very weird suspicion was when my dad abruptly canceled a family dinner about 2 months ago, calling it a work emergency. So, we simply decided to reschedule it, having no other plans. I called up Sophie at around 7 p.m., only for it to be answered on the first ring. I didn't even get to say the first word when she almost breathlessly asked me about my day. I did tell her about the canceled dinner and asked her about her plans, which she declined by saying she had to meet up with her mom that same day at around 8. Then, something weirder happens. I hear Elton John's Tiny Dancer, my dad's ringtone, play in the background, followed by an abrupt silence. All this happens while I sit beside my brother, who's just dialed Dad. I asked her about that sound, and she said it was probably the Google Home malfunctioning. I wish this were the only reason why I was suspicious of them. I invited Sophie to a family dinner with us about 2 weeks ago. My younger brother was bringing his longtime girlfriend. So my dad said it would be a good idea to see if Sophie wanted to join us too, which was odd, but I thought he just didn't want me to feel left out. I did end up inviting her, and she said she would join us. My dad is always in charge of picking the restaurants, and this time he decided to pick out a new place a few miles from our neighborhood. And, coincidentally, it turned out to be the place Sophie was bugging me to go with her. I thought this was a lucky coincidence, but I still couldn't help but find it odd. Things got weird when my dad went on to order the food. I picked out a dish, and so did my brother and his girlfriend. Dad didn't wait for Sophie to say what she wanted to have and ordered a dish for her. She didn't seem to have a problem with it, which was crazy because Sophie's a very picky eater, and it's kind of rude to order for someone without asking them. I confronted my dad then and there, and he said he didn't realize it and just took a lucky guess. Sophie seemed visibly tense and uncomfortable, just asking me to let it go since I didn't want to spoil everyone's mood. I didn't stretch it out further. I confronted Sophie about it yesterday, and was met with an argument that included her denying all the claims and calling me crazy for even thinking about the possibility of it. All the same, she ended her sentence by saying, "Even if we were, how would that affect you in any way or form? I would still be your best friend, and he your dad," which I didn't pay heed to in the heat of the argument. But that came back to me later in the day. Am I the idiot for jumping to conclusions, or am I really going crazy? Asked Dad, "Did you know Sophie's pregnant?" I don't know the father, but she seems really happy about having the child and marrying this guy. I can't believe I haven't met him yet. Ask him over dinner. See how far he sprays the potatoes. His response will probably tell you everything you need to know. This is brilliant. Also, should 100% start calling Sophie mom and tell her she's just practicing. I would have confronted your dad about it before your friend. Your friend is basically a dumb kid still. Your dad is grown up. He should be more responsible than to be having intimacy with his daughter's friend who's 34 years his junior. The "even if we were" statement is an admission to me. I'm sorry this is happening, but I say trust your instinct. You're not crazy, and you're not the idiot. I would tell her the friendship is over. Your dad is screwing your best friend, who he's known as your friend since she was a teen. She's lying to you and dismissing what she knows to be a huge deal. Cut them both off. Their behavior is wrong. Background info. I am male, 41, and a white American. My boyfriend, 38, is Moroccan and half black. His parents took a dislike to me the moment we met. We've been together for 2 years, and he lives in America. The incident in question took place a few days ago. This is only my second time meeting his parents. His mother's been relatively quiet, but obviously feels the same as his father, who's on an all-out war path. They think I'm a typical useless American party boy and not good enough for their son, who's an all-around goody two-shoes. They're wealthy government employees who think that they're contributing a lot to the world, unlike me. Now, it's important to note that I'm also wealthy, self-made, and high-ranking in my career, so I'm not attempting to get on any gravy train. My boyfriend and I are staying at their home in Morocco. The family sat down for dinner, cooked by their private chef. Everybody got a bowl of some Moroccan food that smelled good. I noticed that mine looked paler than the others and didn't have as much of a smell. I didn't comment at first, but then his father said outright, as if he was doing me a favor, that he told the chef to put a portion for me aside before she added any of the seasonings because he thought that my palate wouldn't handle the spice well. I have no issue with spicy food, and I could tell that my boyfriend was already uncomfortable, so he told his father that I could eat what they were eating. I managed to keep my cool, despite being really angry, and told him in no uncertain terms that I could handle spicy food. The next thing, he took my food and went back to the kitchen. When he returned, my food was a shade darker than everyone else's. I realized after the first bite that it wasn't just spicy. It was inedible. My boyfriend noticed my reaction and told his father off before telling me to stop eating it, but I didn't. I ate the darn food, and I've never in my life eaten anything like it. There must have been an entire bottle of spice in it. The pain was intense, but I persevered, much to my boyfriend's protest. His father watched as I was sweating buckets, felt sick, and almost had an asthma attack. Another reason my boyfriend was angry with me was because I put myself at risk, but I ate the whole bowl. Then I left the table, victorious, but dying fast forward. I've been in bed for 3 days, still feel messed up and may not survive. My boyfriend says I should have been the bigger person. That there were no winners at eating the whole bowl was as childish as his father for serving it, and that it harmed only me. He's been taking care of me, but he's also blaming me. I don't think I was the idiot, even if the last 3 days of our vacation have gone down the drain. Not the idiot, but yes, you did not need to prove a point and put your health clearly at risk. You should have thanked him graciously in the first place for trying to be considerate. But I get that you have your pride thing going on too, and wanted it to be clear you did not need to be babied. I question whether it is that you're a party boy, or that you're a boy, or that you're white. I'm unfamiliar with Moroccan customs, but I know there are a lot of countries where 2 men are still an issue, and an issue for parents. Either way, you should apologize to your boyfriend and admit that allowing his father to get under your skin was foolish. Everyone's the idiot here, except the boyfriend, his family for playing stupid games, but also you for taking the petty road. Next time, be more gracious and tell them if they can't find it in their hearts to be a civil host to someone who loves and cares for their son as much as they do, then you'll decline the invite. Play crappy games, win crappy prizes. OP, are you dumb? You are the idiot here. You proved to his parents exactly how stupid you are. Father-in-law was crappy to do something like that, but why did you have to force yourself to eat the food? What point were you trying to prove here? Did it make you feel like a man to eat that food and then get sick after that? Have some self-respect for your body and health. Don't play these stupid games with anyone. If father-in-law pulls the crap again, just straight away walk away from dinner. Update: this has come up a few times, so I'll address it here. My boyfriend's parents know he's gay, and they've accepted that. He is free to be himself in their home. I have apologized and am forgiven. I punish myself enough for his liking, but he agrees that his father is an idiot and could stand up for me more. I'm out now. I appreciate the responses and the laugh. I, 30, male, have been married to my wife, Naomi, 29, female, for 3 years, but we've been together for over 10 years. We're expecting our first child together. Naomi is currently 6.5 months pregnant, and I'm not going to lie, but our pregnancy is considered high risk. Our doctor advised her to avoid any stressful situations because of it. About 6 months ago, my sister, Kate, 38, female, bought a newly built house with her husband, Bob, 40, male, so they can accommodate all my nephews. Nearly adult male, teen female, preteen female, and toddler twins. Their house has 6 bedrooms, and an extra bedroom is used as Bob's hobby room. Bob is very into insects and spiders, so he has a few tarantulas, cockroaches, etc. Now to the issue. The latest survey has discovered that Kate's house is unsafe to live in due to construction issues. I don't know why it hasn't been picked up earlier. Still, they have nowhere to live and have started a legal battle against the company responsible for building the house to get their money back. Currently, they cannot afford to buy another house or rent, as prices for places to rent are way too high in their area. Due to this, my sisters asked me if they could temporarily move in with Naomi and me since Naomi inherited a large house from her parents. It is an older Victorian house that still requires a lot of work. So far, we've only replaced all the windows to keep the warmth in. The house has enough space for my sister and her family. I said they could move in with us as long as they don't bring their tarantulas and other insects with them, as my wife is terrified of spiders to the point of passing out or having a severe panic attack. Bob has them escaping frequently, and he refused, which resulted in a massive argument where I was called an idiot for not providing my sister and her family with accommodation at the time of need, over some spiders. Am I the idiot here? Excuse me, you are providing your sister and her family with accommodation at the time of need. Her hubby is refusing those accommodations over some spiders, not you. If Bob's priority is his cockroaches and not his kids, that's on him. Tell your sister that she and her kids can still move in if they want, and Bob can sort him and his bugs out on his own. It is absolutely fine to have boundaries and rules when you help someone like this. Well, I guess they must not be that desperate if old Bob refuses to rehome his pets. They have choices. Bob lives in his car with his insects, or they all live in a car with his insects, or they convince someone else to be kind enough to take in a family of 7 plus an insect collection. I wish them luck with this one. I understand that pets are important, but so is family. His pets don't take precedence over your wife. OP is a saint to even consider taking in that many people, even without the pets. Good for you for prioritizing your wife. Most people fear spiders and tarantulas, and if they're known for letting the insects escape, your sweet wife would be beside herself and probably never sleep again, especially once your baby arrives. Aside from the insects, I'm shocked that your over-the-top generosity and welcoming 7 people into your home while also expecting a new baby. Plus, insurance typically covers the rental or hotel when things like this happen, so I wonder why you're expected to house them all. You've dodged a bullet here. Shut down the conversation ASAP and consider revoking the offer. Sorry, not sorry for them. I will cut right to the chase. We had a baby a few months ago. If I'm lucky, I'll get 3 to 4 hours of sleep at night. Collectively, he's never up at night with the baby because I breastfeed. I'm okay with this, however, he doesn't understand why I'm so tired. He'll plan crap the next day and expect me to be my best self, like inviting his family over, for instance, despite me being exhausted and not wanting to entertain. He doesn't see the issue. I'm tired of communicating the problem, as I've done so multiple times, and it goes nowhere. So, the night before last, I had gotten no sleep. The baby was up until 4 a.m., and then the doorbell woke me up at 8 a.m. He invited his mother and niece over. They left well after 3 p.m. I was angry, exhausted, etc. Last night, I decided I would show him how it feels versus tell him, to see if he got the hint. I didn't tell him my plans. I kept him awake all night with the baby. All night, I intentionally kept passing her off to him whenever she got busy. She loves moving around. She fell asleep around 3 a.m. I invited my mother and siblings over. They arrived at 10 a.m. and left at 10 p.m., so about 2.5 hours ago. My husband was drained all day, completely exhausted, irritated, etc. He kept asking me when my family was leaving so that he could relax and sleep. I didn't make them leave, however, because he never makes his family go. Once they did leave, he said that was so darn annoying. I'm exhausted. So I said, now you know how it feels. Maybe next time you'll listen to me. Now he's angry because I devised this plan against him, and he feels played. He says that I could have done anything else and that this was ignorant and petty because he's had a migraine all day and needed to sleep, but was expected to entertain. My family isn't as loud as yours. Am I the idiot? My mother-in-law does not come over to see the baby or to help me in any way. She's helped the baby maybe 4 times. One of those, you're going to spoil her if you hold her too much, stick her in her crib and let her cry it out types. She walks through the door and immediately follows my husband around, telling him how great he's doing. Oh day. My daughter hardly knows this woman due to the lack of interaction, even when she's here. So my daughter screams when she's remotely close to her. The only help she's given is clearing my leftovers out of the fridge and taking them home, leftovers I plan to eat, mind you. So, it's of no help and it's irritating. It just makes my day worse. I do not trust to hand my baby over to my mother-in-law or my husband when she's here because of her opinions on parenting. Crying it out is not okay with me, and she's tried pushing that on us several times. I also own my own company, for everyone who tries to pull the, "But do you work?" BS. What anyone who invites guests over at 8 a.m. is a top-grade idiot. Who does that? I think some people don't get things until they experience it for themselves. However, he needs to be responsible for entertaining the people he invites over. Excusing yourself and announcing to your guest that you're sorry, but the baby kept you up all night and you need to rest, should be okay for you to say. The only help she's given is clearing my leftovers out of the fridge and taking them home with her. You don't have a mother-in-law problem. You have a husband problem. Your mother-in-law feels entitled to act like this because your husband lets her. It sounds like he's a complete mama's boy. Start being completely blunt. Do not take my leftovers, and you all must leave now. I need some sleep. If she does it anyway, after that, she's in direct contention of the social contract. Hopefully, that's enough to stop her. If the husband gets annoyed, then he can sit on his annoyance and swivel. Start being so blunt and straightforward that the trash takes itself out. If they don't like it, then they can all screw off. This never worked for me. Every time I try to show my husband something by doing it back to him, after verbally asking 99 times, it just didn't compute. Even while explaining it, it almost always got him twice as mad and still not understanding the original point. Because you're mom, you have super extra power and can do everything on no sleep. You can even do things while sick. He needs his rest and has a headache. I had a headache for about 7 years, and it's gone now. Honey, divorce is also an option.